Welcome everyone to our When Hope Calls Facebook Live. I am Cindy Busby and I am thrilled to be joining season 2 of When Hope Calls. And to kick off this special celebration, I am joined by the President and CEO of Great American Media, Bill Abbott.
Cindy, so thrilled to be here. When Hope Calls is the best thing we've ever created. We've created a lot of great content in the 4 years we've been in existence, but this certainly leads the way, and you lead the way in terms of just being the star of the show. And so wonderful in your role. So April 3rd, this Thursday night on Flix, you can subscribe and get the first episode. And then April 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern on Great American Family. And if you're a Flix Premium subscriber, you will get to see us and enjoy the first episode early on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern, as we will watch the first episode together and take comments and questions and have a live virtual screening this Wednesday night at 7 p.m.
I'm really excited to see it along with everyone.
Everyone will love it.
It's going to be so great. And many of the cast are here to help us celebrate. We have Christopher Russell, Nick Bateman, Sarah Fisher, and Trevor Donovan. So start commenting with your questions because we can't wait to talk to you. So, are you ready? Let's take a look at a trailer of season 2.
What takes you all to Brookfield?
We're visiting my daughter.
I have some personal business.
Who's that woman who works with Lillian?
Nora.
It's a beautiful name. Do you know who that is?
Filling in until Gabriel gets back.
I knew your mother, my birth mother.
Nora has decided to stay and help out around here.
She's a good person with a good heart. Got to mention beautiful.
The children love you.
The thought of bringing joy into their lives.
It is pretty gratifying helping these children. What made you want to become a Mounty?
On to help people.
My parents think that there's something going on between us. Honey, the whole town thinks there's something going on.
What if it turns out that I'm just Sam the handyman again?
I happen to be rather fond of Sam the handyman.
Look at all the lives you've touched here.
I feel like I'm a real part of this town.
Family is forever. That looks
Doesn't get much better than that.
I know, it brings tears to my eyes.
It's really this generation's Little House on the Prairie in so many ways.
Absolutely.
And we're so proud to have it as a family-friendly show on our channel and streaming service.
Yeah, that everyone can come and watch together, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, what can fans expect on season 2?
Well, it's all about great storytelling. Alfonso Marino is the showrunner and just the most talented showrunner and underrepresented and credited in the business. He's brilliant and did a tremendous job with the arcs and the stories and a little bit of drama, a little bit of romance, a little bit of all the things that viewers love.
That's right.
And so we're very much looking forward to premiering it.
And this is based on a series of books, right?
It is. So Jeanette Oak wrote When Calls the Heart, and this was the sequel, When Hope Calls. And When Calls the Heart has been a success for 12 years on another channel. But certainly, you know, it's interesting. The cast of this When Hope Calls is so, we love the talent in When Calls the Heart, but this cast is so well known and has such great overall chemistry together.
Yes.
That right out of the gate, it's going to be, I think, hugely successful and really enjoyed. And that wasn't necessarily the case with When Calls the Heart. So we are really excited.
we enjoyed while we were shooting it. It was amazing. So I have no doubt about that.
That comes across on the screen.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't always happen. And chemistry is something you can't force and can't make up.
Oh. Boy, do I know it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you have tremendous chemistry with some people you've worked with previously, and then others who you haven't, you developed it right away. So
thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Well, we have a lot of people here that are very excited about the show, so let's say hello to some of them that are joining us right now. Okay, we have Jessica from Houston, Texas. I never saw season 1 of When Hope Calls. Will I understand the storyline of season 2?
Yes, and with 4 new stars and a lot of new storylines that take up from the basic premise of the orphanage and the town and that setting, and then they take it to the next level. Alfonso takes it to the next level,
Yeah.
and the cast takes it to the next level. So you will be right out of the gate, I think, inspired and feel good about what you're seeing, and so you don't need to have seen season 1 to enjoy season 2.
Absolutely. It kind of has a seamless beginning, and there's the characters are done justice.
Yes, they are, for sure.
Well, we have something special for everyone joining us tonight. As you submit your questions, don't forget to enter for a chance to win an exclusive personalized video greeting from your favorite When Hope Calls cast member. Simply comment with which cast member you'd love to hear from and tag 2 friends, and we'll announce one lucky winner before the end of this Facebook Live.
So Cindy, you've joined When Hope Calls and
Yes.
as Nora Anderson, and you're such an exciting addition to the Brookfield family.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and Nora's character and
Yeah.
how you personify it so well?
Getting to play Nora was really, really special for me. You know, she's a woman in 1920. She's a lawyer. She's successful and smart. But you know, her family has since passed, and so she finds out that she has new family that happens to be in Brookfield, and so she goes there searching, and she finds so much more. She finds community, she finds connection with the people of the town, which they're just all so special and kind and loving, and you know, of course, she finds special connection at the orphanage as well with all those kids, which I personally loved working with.
Yeah.
And you know, getting to work with animals as well has always been a huge passion of mine. So Nora is just such a special character, and I can't wait for people to get to know her because she just embodies everything.
Yeah, and you help the audience fall in love with the kids and the animals,
Oh,
and
thanks.
the kids are wonderful.
Oh, they
really-
were so fun
yeah,
to get
yeah.
to work with. You know, the thing about kids is they're always in the moment, they're always present, and you can't help but be present with them. And of course, sometimes, you know, they can get a little bit rambunctious, but you know, you bring them back, and actually surprisingly, they'd say action, and the kids would all of a sudden be like, and just say their lines, and you're like, how do you do that? Go from like 10 to right in it. But they always did such a great job, and it was great.
Interesting. Charlotte really tugs at our heartstrings. Charlotte
she really does.
She's blind, and
Yes.
she right out of the gate, you just have this affection for her and great relationship with her.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
It's so enjoyable.
Nora had a sister, and so I think that there's a very special bond with Charlotte from the beginning. And she's just a special young lady and has extraordinary hearing, which I found to be very interesting.
Yeah.
And we go on some fun little adventures together.
Yeah, I tap into that hearing in a big way, and she's a big part of season 2.
Yes, she is, and she
Yeah.
did a wonderful job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, great.
Well, let's see if we have a clip right here of Nora arriving in Brookfield for the very first time.
So, what takes you all to Brookfield?
We're visiting my daughter, Maggie.
Maggie, she's lovely.
Do you live there?
I'm going back. I used to work for a young woman who runs an orphanage. Now I just go back and work whenever she needs me.
Is that Lillian?
Lillian Walsh?
You've both heard about her?
She's good friends with our daughter.
Well, and how do you know about her?
I don't. I have some personal business with her.
Oh.
Ah, the mystery woman.
Yeah, so you're not only coming in as a mystery woman, you have to win the trust of the town and of the children, and
That's
that must have
right.
been no easy feat.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of vulnerability for Nora coming into a new city with, you know, looking for family and not knowing anyone and not knowing if she'll be welcomed. So yeah, it was. There certainly are some challenges along the way.
Yeah, and kids are so used to their routine.
Absolutely.
And especially ones who are in the orphanage, they're looking for that stability and security,
Yeah.
and so somebody new entering the equation
Totally. I mean,
was-
there's so much, like you said, instability in their life and looking for connection and looking for their hearts to be mended and to be loved.
Yeah, and we see it later on in the season when somebody else comes in and
That's
is
right.
working with the children, and there's some very funny moments within.
Yep.
I think it's episode 3.
3
or
or
4.
so? Yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah. You have to tune in to see.
Exactly, exactly. So what about the character and what about the town attracted Nora to staying in Brookfield?
Well, I think Brookfield, first of all, is where she's hoping to connect with a family member, but it just also becomes a place where she finds like a home for herself, and she hasn't felt a connection to family in a really long time, and she finds friendship, she finds belonging, and she also finds a Mounty that, you know, kind of catches her eye along the way. And yeah, she's kind of looking to help out the people of Brookfield as well, because again, she's a lawyer and they might need some of her help along the way.
Yeah, for sure. And her being a lawyer raises a lot of questions from the children as well.
Absolutely. They
Which-
want to understand, what does a lawyer mean and what do they do? And yeah, so Nora loves to tell them a little bit more about that they, sometimes she's got to, you know, represent some good guys and maybe bad guys.
Right, exactly. So that's a lot of intrigue throughout the season. But so you're such an accomplished actress. You've done so many different things and played so many different roles. What about this? Did you have to learn anything new as you entered a period piece? Have you ever done a period piece before?
I've done a period piece before, but not in the 1920s.
Okay.
And so I actually had to learn how to drive a horse-drawn wagon, which I remember reading in the script and being like, oh, I'm gonna have to do that. Am I gonna like get lessons, or like where does one get a wagon? So I had some lessons on my way to where we shot the show, and it was really cool. I got behind the wheel, so to speak, which was a 1-ton horse named Zach, and
Wow.
yeah, and I sat in the
Alone?
wagon. Well, initially I did have, you know, a co-pilot with me because I probably wasn't trusted at first
Yeah,
to
well,
really be able to navigate.
For good reason.
I didn't have my driver's license yet
Yeah,
for
right.
wagon driving.
Yep.
But yeah, it was all about posture, all about like slightly moving the reins. And they had me doing figure eights and little donuts with it. And it's hard because the wagon doesn't have a very big radius. So you have to be careful that when you're turning, not to turn too quickly because it can actually tip over, which they only told me afterwards. Actually, they're like, oh yeah, you want to be careful because that thing can tip over. And I was like, oh, that's good to know.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I'm in a field, but it was all safe and great.
And then there's a scene where you take over driving the wagon with our Mounty.
Well, that's right. The Mounty
Yeah.
thinks he's going to be driving the wagon, and boy, is he surprised.
Yes, that is for sure. You didn't learn how to drive a wagon in Montreal growing up?
No, there's not as many wagons in Montreal,
Yeah,
especially
no,
during the winter
I'm
time.
sure.
It's a little
Oh,
bit chilly, you
yes,
know? Okay,
understandable.
so Bill, I have a question for you. Do you think I'm similar to Nora? Do you think we're kind of opposites?
No, I think this character is just perfect for you because she has integrity, she loves her family, she is very focused on doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And all of those components, as I know you personally, you have every one of them. So it's tailor-made for you. We had no other, we thought of you right away when we read it.
Thank you so much, Bill. I had an absolute blast playing Nora, and I really hope that you all at home really enjoy Nora and her journey to Brookfield. And well, let's go to Facebook and ask the audience what they'd like to know more of. All right, Cindy, what was your favorite part of filming When Hope Calls?
The weather in North Bay, Ontario?
The weather in North Bay. You know, it was pretty good for the most part, although our set is a little bit of a wind tunnel at times, so sometimes the hair would be flying all over the place.
Fall also starts in September, I think.
Yeah.
And you were there through Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, the leaves changing colors
Yeah,
were
it's
absolutely
spectacular.
stunning. But I will say my favorite part of When Hope Calls is truly the people behind it. Whether it was the actors or the crew, everyone was so incredibly talented and so hardworking. And there wasn't a day that I wasn't excited to just say hi to everyone and have a great time and laugh between the takes. And I would also bring my dog, Susie, to set every day. And they were so welcoming to her. And in fact, there was a few times I didn't bring her to set because I'd only have like one scene that day. So I'd just leave her at the hotel. Don't worry, she was safe. And people were like, "Where's Susie?" And I'd be like, "Hi, nice to see you too." They grew quite fond of her.
And we would never put Susie in a difficult position.
Absolutely
We'd put
not.
you there first.
Are you
before
kidding
we
me?
put Susie there.
I completely agree. No, she was very pampered and very well loved.
Yeah, and you bring up the behind the scenes and the people. I neglected to mention 3 wonderful creators of When Calls the Heart and then When Hope Calls.
Yeah.
Brad Cravoy and
Yes.
MPCA has done a phenomenal job.
Phenomenal.
And he was the vision behind When Calls the Heart from day one.
Yep.
And this as well. So
Yeah.
a big thank you to him. And
Yes.
Michael Landon Jr. and Brian Bird also
Yes.
have been instrumental in helping to weave these stories and create this great setting, family-friendly content.
Forever grateful for that, that's for sure. All right.
So Julia R., Cindy, who do you base your character portrayal on?
Oh, wow. I mean, I base her on the story that I was given by Alfonso, who's absolutely has, written a wonderful character. And Alfonso actually did go to law school, and he did live in San Francisco. So, there are things about Nora that I think are a little bit from his life. But yeah, I base Nora on the women of 1920 who worked really hard to become a lawyer at a time where it was a little bit more difficult. A lot more difficult.
A little more difficult.
A lot more difficult. Yeah, and it's kind of a tribute to them and how incredibly strong and smart and compassionate and perseverant. Yeah.
Really great.
Yeah.
So I think we have one more question.
What enticed you to join the great show? I mean, everything.
Thank you, Kathy F.
Thank you, Kathy F. Everything, I would say. I wanted to join because of the people. I knew that once I found out Christopher Russell was going to be on the show, I was especially excited.
And you worked together many times.
Because we worked together many
yeah.
times. But then, of course, just the story itself. And I knew a little bit about, When Calls the Heart and When Hope Calls prior. And then, of course, knowing that we have such a great relationship from the past and just knowing that we were going to get to work together again was truly an exciting time.
Yes, it's a privilege.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you so much for your questions, everyone. My co-star, speaking of Christopher Russell, my co-star Christopher Russell, who plays Brookfield's new constable, is about to join us. So here's a clip of him and Mounty Gabriel sharing a moment before heading to their new posts.
O'Leary's gang took the high ground the last couple of times. I'm gonna have Mounties stationed along this pass here and here.
The thing about O'Leary is that he changes his gun running route, so you might want to station some Mounties right here as well.
The other side of the river?
Water's shallow there, so he'd have no problem getting his wagons across.
I see why you were originally assigned to lead this operation.
Still wish I was part of it.
You might be, if you weren't always living up to your nickname.
I appreciate you taking over when I was put on medical leave.
I appreciate you taking over my post in Brookfield. I need you to give Lillian this letter.
Consider it done.
Take care of the town.
I will. You take care of yourself. One going head to head with the O'Leary gang. Wish it was me.
You'll be back leading the charge again in no time.
Aww.
The passing of the torch moment.
Chris Russell.
That's actually the first time I've seen that, and
That's so
kind of tingling.
Yes, I know. It's so special.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here. Okay, so you play Mounty Michael Fearless Fletcher. Tell us a little bit about the fearless part.
Well, Constable Fletcher, Mounty Michael Fletcher, also known as Fearless Fletcher, he was a latchkey kid, so he grew up basically taking care of himself, and he had a tremendous sense of right and wrong from an early age. And he always wanted to bring justice to those who couldn't defend themselves or stick up for themselves. And he dedicated most of his life to that and would travel around the country tracking down gun runners and smugglers and the worst of the worst. But he was always getting injured doing it. So that's how he got the nickname Fearless, because no matter what, he wouldn't give up. So when you meet Mounty Michael Fletcher with Gabriel, as you said, Bill passing the torch, what happened was Michael Fletcher, my character, he's on medical leave and couldn't continue his long, arduous journeys across the country. So he took over Gabriel's post in Brookfield, and Gabriel sets out on a long mission to catch some very dangerous people.
Wow.
Yes, and that's a very serious moment in the overall arc of both When Calls the Heart and When Hope Calls, in that, the Mounty is the central figure in the town. And so certainly a lot of responsibility there for...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What was it like when you first stepped on set, like as the Mounty, like the first time they got to do that?
So I didn't have the benefit of seeing Brookfield until I was in my full uniform and we were ready to shoot because of scheduling, what have you. So when I got there, all the background, all the cast, everyone was in their full 1920s garb. The set was ready to go. There's wagons going by. There's horses everywhere. There's cattle over here. And this town, like, it has interiors and exteriors that are all fully functional. So it's not, you're not on a set. You're in a town. You're in the town of Brookfield. So I literally, my first scene, stepped into the town of Brookfield, and I didn't have to do much else but say the words Alfonso wrote, because the set and the other actors did it all for me.
Well, that's very humble, but modest. but because
Truly.
I mean, you bring the entire series to life in so many ways. That red outfit right out of the gate, the jacket.
Thank you.
That iconic jacket.
I
How
mean,
can you not fall in love with that?
I mean, that's the thing. You can't not fall in love with the jacket.
You know what?
How many movies have you done together?
Oh my gosh. Well, so before this, we've done 4 movies.
4 movies.
Yeah.
Yep. 4 movies. First one was Puppy for Christmas.
Yeah, that's
Done
right.
that before?
Yeah.
And that was, but he played a very different character
Oh
then.
yeah.
He was
especially at the start.
That's right. He was kind of a bit of a jerk then.
Yes.
Just a little
very
bit.
different.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you think the characters that we've played in the past, how do you think that prepared us, or how different was it for this current project?
That's a good question. So up until we found ourselves in Brookfield, everything we did was set in present day. They were modern rom-coms, essentially. We discovered early on that we had a rapport, a banter, some type of back and forth that worked quite well.
Some would call that.
But the question is, how do you bring that to the 1920s, honor the story that has been written for all these other characters, and that has such a huge fan base, but also keep that spark alive that people have come to know us for. So that was interesting. I'm sure you can agree.
I felt the same.
But it's like back in the 1920s, people were more prim and proper and they never actually said what they were thinking or feeling. So that was really fun to get to play off that with you, to be able to keep that banter going, saying something opposite to what we're thinking or feeling, and creating that tension, because back then you didn't want to give away anything.
And nothing like it. That is so key, and we want her to be consistent with the time period.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not have, take the viewer out of the moment.
Exactly.
Yes, and I think we did a very good job at that.
Yeah, there's no tension like that tension.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yes, exactly.
Like what is unspoken
That's
sometimes
exactly
is
right.
much stronger.
Yeah, there's some great scenes that definitely hammer that point home.
For sure.
Yeah. So, what do you think Mounty Fletcher's, what do you think he feels about Nora?
What does he feel?
When he sees her for the first time.
Yeah.
When he
what
sees her
is he
for the
thinking?
first time? Well,
Is that the coffee scene where?
It feels so long ago, Bill.
I know.
No, I don't want to give anything away, but I'm going to give something away. There might be more than one meet cute.
That's right.
That's
There's a few
very fair to
meet
say.
cutes.
Yep.
They get a little bit clumsy.
Yeah, just a little bit. When he first sees Nora, he's intrigued. It's just, you know, when you see someone for the first time that sort of takes your breath away, and for Michael Fletcher, he's usually very composed, and he's got his head on his shoulders, and he's very stoic. You never really know what he's up to, but he knows what you're up to, and he knows what everybody's up to. But with Nora, he gets a little flustered.
Flustered?
So you didn't get I'm sure your first impression didn't take your breath away when you saw her.
No breath was had. Yes. Yes, I feel like the feeling was very mutual. I think Nora feels, taken by this man in red. And, like I'm new, he's new. And, but then, they keep bumping and getting clumsy and running into each other. And he's the man of the law, and I'm a woman of the law. So who knows? Maybe we'll need each other somewhere down the line.
Well said.
Well, we have some proof of the spark brewing in Brookfield. So let's take a look.
Good afternoon, Mounty Fletcher.
Good afternoon. Afraid I only know you by your first name. Is it Miss? Mrs.?
It's Miss Anderson, but you can call me Nora.
Call me Michael. What can I do for you?
Are you going to be staying on as the town constable?
Temporarily, till Gabriel comes back.
I was hoping that you'd be so kind as to join me to Clearwater tomorrow.
Because?
There's an orphan at the juvenile facilities there. I might have difficulties getting her released to my care. It would be helpful if you were there to vouch for me.
Helpful? It's in my job description. Road trip sounds great.
Thank you, Michael. 9 a.m.?
Sure. Nora.
The definition of chemistry.
Wow, I mean, those looks.
Yeah.
If looks could speak.
For sure. So you've worked together so many times. What's something you can tell us about Christopher that viewers might not know?
So many things. But something that stands out to me is that Chris Russell brings his lunch every day. He's like, I knew you were going to say that.
I did know you were going to say that.
Chris brings his lunch to set every single day. He has a little lunch box with his various snacks, to make sure that he's well fed throughout the day, because
Heaven help us if I get hangry.
he does get hangry. But yeah, it's always good to be prepared. You never know when that hunger will hit, and Chris is very prepared. But I also will say that, all lunch boxes aside, he is probably the most prepared actor I've ever worked with. He is extremely passionate about his art and being an actor, and it's really inspiring to watch him work. He can also have a really good time too, and that is my favorite part about working with Chris, is because we can be serious and do what we need to do, but also have a great time.
Oh, that's great. How about you?
No, I appreciate that.
Anything about Cindy that you
That the audience
can
might not
share?
know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just found out that you were a translator for some tour.
Space Camp Canada.
Yeah, Space Camp Canada. I thought that was pretty interesting. So Cindy would speak in French and English, describing all the different types of
rockets,
astrology.
So you speak French fluently?
Yeah,
Did not know that.
Yeah, that was my first language, and I worked at Space Camp Canada in Laval, which is just outside of Montreal, for several years, and that was one of my side gigs while I was trying to make it as an actor.
It was a pretty cool side gig.
It was a great side gig. And I will say, shout out, they were extremely supportive of me as an actor, and yeah, they always had my back, which was cool. Great memory. I don't even remember when I told you that. Thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
Well, she's a Montreal Canadian fan. We won't hold that against her.
Sure, yeah. The Habs.
The Habs. Well, okay. Well, Facebook is flooded with questions for Christopher Russell. No surprise there. Let's see what David Deverett has to say. Christopher, what's it like being a Mountie on the show, and did you do any research about them before you start in the series?
Oh, that's a good question, David. Well, it's an honor, really, because I'm Canadian, and they're a very traditional and important role in our judicial system here and our law enforcement. And I did do a little bit of research about what they looked like in the 1920s, how they carried themselves, what their actual positions entailed, because it was a lot different back then than now. Now they're RCMP, they drive around in SUVs and, you know, they're kind of modern.
No wagons?
Yeah. Still wear the Mountie uniform?
They do in some areas, the ones that are actually mounted for real, like on an actual horse, but there are RCMP officers that wear a more regular looking police uniform. But anyway, the 1920s, yeah, it was just a real honor to be able to play that type of character.
Yeah.
That's the best I can come up with right now.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
Sounds great to me.
Totally understand. So Jennifer Rupp has asked Cindy and Christopher, how do you capture chemistry with your co-star?
Wow, that's a great question. I don't know that there's a real, I don't know if there's a real like thing I can share, except you either.
If that's directed at you and I together, then
I think so.
Yeah.
There's not really, I'm sorry to disappoint, there's not really much work.
I think that's
You
what
guys,
everybody. I think
this guy right here.
It's just sort of, it's already there. And obviously having the benefit of working together on so many different projects, we've developed a rapport and sort of, like we feel safe in each other's company.
Yes.
You know, we feel like we can truly just go for it, and then the other one will have our back and support us, and it just sort of works out. And also with this this type of genre too, like your instincts will come up and kind of guide you to do something, and if you don't have the right scene partner, it might just fall flat. But with Cindy, it always, like if I do something that's not scripted or we hadn't rehearsed, she'll pick it up right away and just go with it, and vice versa. So
Yeah, I totally agree. And
you either have it or you don't.
Yeah, and I think, and we have a friendship, you know, outside of work as well, which I think really matters. And you know, it's all about working together in the moment, being present, working out the scene, and diving in the deep end and hoping for the best. And somehow it's worked out really well for us. So also we have great writing, which
that
helps a lot.
Yeah.
Which helps a lot. Okay, we have another question from Amy. We need to know, Christopher, how was it wearing the Mountie boots?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie.
Don't do that. Don't lie to us.
I got a big blister on the top of my foot at the beginning,
He did.
and spent the rest of the time putting some blister pads on it and asking my boots to be stretched out. But they didn't. My boots didn't listen to me, so I had to do it myself.
You were really good about it, too, because you didn't even say anything for like a week. And those boots are hard to lace up, too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how
Takes a long time.
I don't know how the actual Mounties did it.
Are they like skates?
Well, they go all the way up to your knee, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Yep.
they are.
High
Like, you got to get them
skates?
really tight. Yeah,
Yeah.
tying up skates and tying up Mountie boots, very similar. Very
Yeah, in
similar.
1920, they might not have had a costume designer to help you out.
No, they wouldn't have.
That's for sure. So we have one more question. Beth Barclay has asked, Christopher, do you have to take horseback riding lessons? Or we heard Cindy talk before about taking carriage driving lessons.
Yeah, I didn't have to do any carriage driving lessons because I was the passenger.
That's right.
But yeah, horse riding lessons. I didn't have to take any for this role. I already had experience, but I actually did in my off time go to a stable nearby and get better at it because I want to keep doing this for a long time. So
yes,
I got to keep my skills up to speed.
And
That's our intention.
Yeah.
That's right. And was it hard getting on and off the horse?
So, okay. In my everyday life, I can get on and off the horse without any assistance.
That's right.
However, in my Mounty uniform, when we're in the middle of a take and I need to jump on my horse and ride away, we have to pause, and a little team has to come out with a with a step stool for me to step up on and swing up onto the horse while Cindy Busby patiently waits to continue the scene.
That's right.
And then we say reset, and then we say action, and we start like nothing happened.
We pretended like nothing happened. Seamless.
But in my defense, there is one other person who also has to do that, and this person has a lot of riding experience.
Yes.
So it's not necessarily the Mounty, but the pants.
That makes sense.
Blame
Who's that
it on
other
the
person?
You might be seeing him a little bit later.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Mr. Trevor Donovan?
Maybe.
Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone, for those incredible questions, and thanks, Chris, for being here. Keep those Facebook questions coming, and don't forget to enter for a chance to win a personalized video greeting from your favorite When Hope Calls cast member. Simply comment below and say which cast member you'd love to hear from. Tag 2 friends, and we'll announce one lucky winner tonight.
Yes, and PureFlix Premium, we are so happy that we started that because it directly supports the content that we produce. And it also gives viewers such a great insight into your character and Cindy, Nora, your character, and gives us an opportunity to engage fans in a very different way. And it supports the culture of family-friendly entertainment, which we desperately need and are so excited to be producing. So when you subscribe, you're supporting that culture directly, and we are very appreciative.
Yeah, and that'll be all available on the PureFlix Premium. And I can't wait because we've already shot a lot of things, some behind the scenes, talking about our characters, and that was so much fun. And you're only going to be able to find it right there.
Wednesday night.
That's
We'll be
right,
hosting
Wednesday.
The premiere. And we have right now Candace Cameron-Bure to tell us more.
Perfect.
PureFlix Premium was created to respond to the many requests that we've received from subscribers who want to connect more deeply with our talent and content. PureFlix Premium offers additional value such as behind-the-scenes access, virtual screenings, and special events that bring you closer to our stars and the creative process. Our mission remains the same: to champion faith, family, and country through uplifting and inspiring programming. PureFlix offers an experience unlike anything in mainstream media, and we are excited to continue creating content that aligns with your values. Thank you so much for being a part of our journey.
So really excited, and something like PureFlix Premium for a series like When Hope Calls is just perfect. And so we know that as we talked about the virtual screening on Wednesday evening, 7 p.m., you and me back again.
That's right.
And then your character profile releases on April 4th as Nora. Then on the 7th, we have another live virtual screening with Morgan Cohan and RJ Hanukkah that we're very excited about. On April 14th, Sarah Fisher, who we will talk with in a moment, who is wonderful in the series as Hannah. We have the Men of Brookfield on April 16th on the When Hope Calls behind the scenes, and another live virtual screening with the incredibly talented John McLaren and Hanneke Talbot on April 21st, followed by the Women of Brookfield on April 23rd, and then behind the scenes with When Hope Calls and Cindy Busby. And finally, a live virtual screening for episode 6, the finale with Sarah Fisher. So a lot of great content coming, and very, very excited to deliver that for fans everywhere.
Absolutely. I'm very excited. So another one of the amazing stars of When Hope Calls, is one. Nick Bateman is about to join us. So he plays Wyatt Parker, who runs the Lawrence Ranch. Let's take a look.
Oh, she's a beauty.
Yeah, she is.
Some say she's the fastest horse in the valley.
Possible.
Or maybe she just has the best rider.
Also possible. What do I owe the pleasure, Tess?
I'm gonna be straight with you, Wyatt. I'm hoping to buy this ranch.
Well, I expect you're not alone in that.
Oh, I bet. Prime bottomland, valley's best access to fresh water. I suspect you're right.
Well, you can bid at the auction like everyone else.
What if your best offer came before the auction? Come on, you know me, Wyatt. I'd do right by the herd, carry on how Ray'd want, and of course, I'd want you to run these pastures.
Well, that won't be my decision, Tess. It'll be hers.
Is that the horse you're driving?
No, mine is much bigger than that. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is such a cute scene and also a lot of drama going on there.
That was my very first scene I ever shot for the entire show.
Really?
Yeah, so it was fun to be on set with Wendy and my first interaction with the horses.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're fun to work with.
So what was it like? You know, being
Straight
on
out
set?
of Central Casting as a rancher.
Yeah.
I cannot think
Truly.
of a better rancher.
It was fun. Stepping back into the 1920s, I was super impressed with the wardrobe department. It was spot on. When I got into the outfit, I felt like a rancher. I felt like a cowboy, and I felt like a cowboy from the 1920s. So as you can see on screen, it's fun, and it's a lot easier to get into character when you feel like the character, you look like the character, and you can embody the character. So yeah, it was fun jumping on set. It was fun working with the horses, and obviously the amazing cast.
Yes.
It's great when it's fun on set.
And that scene was with Wendy Crewson, who's basically a legend.
100%.
I mean,
the Santa Claus.
She's in everything and did such an incredible job. And you two have a lot of nice scenes together.
Yeah, no, I like her character a lot. She's one of the rough around the edges character that gives it to people. And when I took this role on, I was excited because Wyatt is that as well in the male form. And I like those characters that are slow burn and you slowly reveal the good heart inside and this tough exterior slowly unfolds.
I mean, yeah, and I can't wait to see it unfold.
Yeah.
And okay, so Nora is primarily in the town and your character is primarily on the ranch.
Yeah.
How do you think those two worlds are different? And like, how does it feel when, Wyatt enters the town?
Yeah, I feel like it's a good contrast. The story going on in the town has a lot of love, a lot of respect, a lot of like warm, fuzzy feelings. And then when we cut away to the ranchers, they're dealing with some emotional stuff. And not that the town isn't, but Wyatt loses Ray, who was, the owner of the ranch, who was the closest thing he had to a father, it's hard for someone to lose someone like that.
Absolutely.
And then as the show progresses, there's a lot of things that he's going through and dealing with and having to meet new people and bring them into his life. And yeah, it's a big contrast between you guys are dealing with high stakes in a different way, and we're dealing with high stakes in our own world. But it's cool as they're following in unison. And I like the way Alfonso had written the script, that they grow together. Yeah. And the pressure goes, and then it all explodes at the same time. And when one's going crazy in a good way, the other side's going crazy in a not so good way. Yeah. And you're like, whoa, whoa, and it cuts back and forth, and you're like, it's good. It's good filmmaking. It's good TV. So
it's because they need each other, yet they're frenemies, I guess. The ranch need the overall territory and the cattle and the story of cattle getting lost or stolen.
100%.
It keeps you on your toes, that's for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, the town all needs each other, as any town does to make a good community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you look so comfortable working with horses on set. Is that part of your growing up?
I don't have much experience with horses. I've ridden a few times throughout my life. Once in Costa Rica, which was really fun, through the jungle. And then other times scattered. But I've always been comfortable around animals. My mom used to work at an animal hospital.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
she brought home like squirrels, raccoons, crows.
Wow.
I've raised some really weird things.
Heart of gold.
Yeah, but it's fun. So I've always had a love for animals, and the horses are very unique and cool to be around, and they make for some very fun scenes. And you don't know what to expect when you're acting with a horse. And you know, acting with another actor, you can like kind of improv, but like some of the scenes like make me laugh. But the horse was rubbing its face against my body like a cat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't know horses did that. Wyatt should know.
Right.
And then I'm trying to deliver my lines, and this horse is just
yeah.
just rubbing up against me, and I'm trying to deliver my lines, and I'm like, okay. And then we had another take, and it just kept going again, and I'm like, all right, we're rolling with this. This horse is getting some loving. But yeah, no, they're limited experience, but definitely fun. And horses can sense people's energies, and yeah, and we're lucky. We've got some good horses that work harder than us on set sometimes. So it's fun.
Would you say that the idea of working with animals and kids on set is true, that it can be troublesome, or do you enjoy it? Because there's like this, you know, a fable, so to speak, where people say that's a tough thing to do.
I enjoy it, and the good thing about this show and production is they really care about the animals and the horses. They take really good care of them. So that first off makes me happy, because you know, we're all advocates for animals and making sure that they're know treated in the right way. And then kids are the best actors, because they don't think before they do. They're genuine. They're present. So I think it's always fun to see kids acting, because sometimes you get to see some like really cool moments of raw talent. There's not thought behind it. It's raw. And as we get older, we get more in our heads. And, you know. So yeah, I enjoy that side of the show.
Especially when there are a few of them, and you have the orphanage that plays so well into them having dialogue with each other and interacting off each other.
100%.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know Facebook is flooded with questions, so let's go to the audience. We have Martha J. Nick, what was it like starring in When Hope Calls?
It was fun. I hadn't been up to North Bay extensively, and the back lot where the whole city is really cool.
So cool.
It's an experience, and it's walking through is fun. It's actually funny because my mom's name is Debbie, and on the back it's Debbie's pastries, and I was like, Mom, you're not gonna believe this. It says Debbie's pastries on the city. But walking through, seeing the orphanage, one thing that I found awesomely funny is when I got to set, there was no ranch built for Wyatt yet. And then I went away, and I came back a week later, and there was an entire house built. And I'm like,
wait, where did this come from?
Yeah, where did this house come from?
Could use them out here in LA.
Right.
Yeah, I was
just dropped from the sky.
I was like, give me your contractors. But no, it's really fun and cool to be on set, to walk through the back lot. You feel like you're almost like on like a Universal Studios type thing, where you get to like immerse yourself. Like I walked through all like the little sets, and you know, they've gone above and beyond with these sets. Like everything in the hospital or the drugstore, they've actually like labeled the things, made them look 1920s.
Oh yeah, it's so impressive.
It's fun. It's fun. Like I could walk around there for hours and just be like, oh, what's this? What's this room? What's this room? And then check out the horses and the carriages. So it's. I was actually saying you guys should like charge people to come in and like check out Brookfield. I'm like, I pay for it. So
yeah, well, you know, I mean, it's the biggest thing we've ever done, and it's certainly we're very proud of it.
Yeah,
awesome. As you should be.
I actually remember seeing you, I think it was maybe your first time on set. Chris Russell and I were shooting a scene up on the hilltop, and you were walking around the town, and I just remember you were like maybe doing an Instagram Live or something, and we were like, hey, there's Nick. And we were all in our costumes, and you were just in your regular clothes, and it's just like, it's such a funny dynamic when we get to see each other
especially
in the
with
world.
the costumes. And
yeah,
the
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. So Pamela Smith, Nick, how did it feel working on a ranch?
Yeah, no, it was fun. I have a lot to learn as Wyatt. I grew up doing martial arts and stuff like that, and we had Rick on set, who's our like resident cowboy, like a real cowboy, and
our wrangler.
Our wrangler, and so anytime I would consider him like the black belt of being a rancher. So anytime I needed like a question, I'd be like, "Hey Rick, would a cowboy do this?" And he'd be like,
He's very honest. He's very honest.
So in the first scene, you see me wearing gloves, right? And then, like I shot it a couple times, and he's like, "Just so you know, a cowboy wouldn't be wearing gloves right now." And I'm like, Right. Now you tell me.
The magic of movie
I'm like,
making.
we already shot this scene, so that for the rest, every time the wardrobe would come, like, hey, Nick, you want your gloves? I'd look over at Rick and be like, no, not wearing the gloves.
I can totally see him saying that.
So yeah, being a rancher is it's fun, and I like the challenge of learning new things and embodying it, and yeah. So, but I'm lucky I got someone like Rick to be like,
yeah,
was this it? And he's like, yeah. So.
Well, viewers are going to love watching you in that role.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm happy, yeah.
Yeah. Next question we have is from Corbis. So do you have ranching skills, roping, riding? We kind of touched base on that a little bit.
I do not.
Yeah.
No. And like I said, I've had fun learning. I was, I did martial arts, like I said, so I know how to tie a belt. I was asking Rick, how do I tie a knot? And then he's trying to quickly teach me how to tie like a knot for like the horses and stuff like that. So I'm still a student in the ranching world, and I'm gonna continue to learn, continue to learn how to ride horses more, all that type of stuff. So yeah, I'm not well versed, but
I mean, it's a lot. People who learn it from the time they're born, basically,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. You should see Rick's hands, like they're.
He's been working a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell who's a real rancher and who's not, but that's part of being an actor is trying to embody that, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
For sure. So one more question from our Facebook Live group. Johnny Gale Turner asks Nick, how comfortable is the long leather trench coat?
It's great. Yeah, it was cold, so I wasn't going to complain. Like I said, the wardrobe did a fantastic job. I was happy with everything. They busted that coat out. I forget the name that they had for it, but it's like it came from like Australia or something. The type of fashion that it was, and they brought it out and they're like, "Do you like this?" I'm like, "Yes, this is really cool."
Yeah.
So I never had any complaints with the wardrobe. Every time they bring something out, I'd be like, "Yep."
Yeah,
Keep it
you had
coming.
some really cool stuff.
And yeah, nothing's uncomfortable. Like, thankfully, I didn't have to deal with blisters on my feet. Like, I didn't even know Christopher Russell had blisters on his feet. But yeah, no complaints with the wardrobe.
Well, you wear it very well.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
And we have, this is a little off script, but we have a question from our head of programming, Kristen Roberts, who would like to know, in Winter Wedding, when you played air guitar, how would you compare that role to this one?
Great question.
Wow. That was a fun movie. It was my very first movie as a lead. And
she loves the scene, by the way.
Does she?
I mean, who doesn't love air
Exactly.
guitar, right?
Honestly, I thought I looked like horrible in the scene, and I laughed because I don't know if they were pitying me or not, but I finished the scene, and like my other actors on set were like, "Dude, you nailed that." I was like, "Are they being real with me right now?" But you know what? I'm lucky that I have such good people around me on set. That movie was so fun. I met one of my closest friends that I'm still friends with now on that movie.
That's awesome. I love
a
that.
buddy named Adam, and
That's great.
Andrea Bowen.
Yeah.
She's such a cool person. I just had such a great time with that cast, and I do with this. So I would say it's very similar because when I'm on set, I'm just having fun, and that's rare sometimes. So.
And that comes through. And so
absolutely.
we've licensed that movie because it's so well done.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for your questions, and thanks, Nick. You're going to leave for a little bit, and we're going to chat with our co-star, Sarah Fisher. But first, let's watch a clip of Sarah, your co-star.
Need a room?
No. Actually, I need a telephone.
Oh, unfortunately, the nearest one's in the city of Clearwater. We do have a telegraph office right across the street, though.
Does your telegraph operator deliver messages to the ranches?
No, Ruth pretty much sticks to town.
That changes things. I guess I will take a room.
Oh, wonderful. Your name, please?
Hannah Lawrence.
Why, you're Ray's niece. But I really am very sorry for your loss. We all love Ray Lawrence.
Thank you.
No, I remember you. Yeah. You were this happy, energetic, moppy-haired little girl. That was what,
About 17 years ago.
17 years. Oh, long time. Well, I'll put you in room 5. There you are.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Get that? My uncle's foreman will be meeting me here shortly.
Oh, Wyatt.
That's right.
Well, I'll let them know you've arrived.
Great. Thank you.
Just straight up and around the corner.
Great.
Wow. Well,
Impeccable timing.
That's
Great
right.
timing.
Quite the welcome. Hi,
Certainly
Sarah.
is. Hi. How you doing?
Good. So happy you're here.
Yes,
So happy
thank
to be
you for
here.
joining us.
Of course.
We were
of
just
course.
saying Neil Crone, who plays Ronnie, is just so hilarious.
Hilarious. He would be throwing in extra little things every now and then, and every time we would all be cracking up. He's so funny.
Yeah,
he's great. Really
he's
good
an
comedic
improv
actor.
genius.
Oh yeah, he's
Absolutely.
great.
Okay, so we got to see your incredible character, Hannah. Okay, so what makes her so unique, especially in this world of Brookfield?
I think what makes her really unique is that she's kind of in this tug of war between the city life and the country life. You know, she's drawn to like the St. Louis hustle, you know, lifestyle where she's got this company and she's really thriving, but then she gets kind of pulled back into her heartstrings of like where she was raised and on horses and in fields and with cows, and now she's so in the middle of these two beautiful worlds. And I think it's really interesting to see sort of what pulls her at what time and where she ends up. We'll have to see.
But while you have your challenges, you're such a quick study in terms of learning things very quickly. At the same time, you know, you definitely have moments.
She has her moments.
Yes, she does. When she falls
Don't
from
we all?
Don't we all? Exactly.
To the best of us.
But what did you love about, what did Hannah love about going to the ranch and just being where she was basically raised with her uncle?
I feel like it's just like going home, you know, like it's just like going home after a really long time away. She, I mean, I think it was the best moments of her childhood. And I think Uncle Ray was such a huge father figure to her. So it really brings her back to her childhood and who she was, which she's been really far away from for a really long time. She hasn't even seen her uncle at the ranch before he passed. It had been several years before she had seen him and been there. So she's so out of touch. And it's cool that you say that because I feel like once she gets on a horse, even though it takes a moment, she does kind of find herself. It's like the inner child comes out and she kind of finds herself again, but it's a struggle for her. She's a tough cookie and she's tough to crumble. She's really, you know, kind of tough and she's worked really hard to be in the position she's in, and now she's kind of falling back in love with what was once home to her.
Yeah, because she comes in to sell the ranch.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so she changes her mind or begins to change her mind over the course of the season.
And to be a female rancher in 1920, I mean, that is quite the feat, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's something that I think is so exciting and so amazing about the show is we've got so many just powerhouse women, and I just think that's a beautiful, incredible thing, and stories that are so important to tell. And I think that's part of why Hannah has this kind of almost hard, tough shell about her. And I think it's because she had to work so hard to be in the position that she's in. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we find our way back to the soft side of her is going to be really fun.
And going from the hustle and bustle of the big city and then to the small town that is Brookfield, that's you know, quite a change.
Oh yeah, for sure, night and day, for sure.
Yeah, and then convincing your co-star to stay and not leave, and getting him to sign a contract, which was you know, very unusual that he would work for a woman back then.
Yeah, well, what's really fun about the relationship between them is that they both are sort of they're both very strong characters, very strong individuals. And so there's this kind of undeniable chemistry that exists between them, but neither of them want to lean into it because they kind of want to keep themselves, I've got my thing and this is what I'm doing. So neither of them want to lean in. So Nick and I always talk about how we love the slow burn because we love a slow burn romance. They're so rewarding when you finally get there.
Absolutely.
And you know, so I think that's something that's been really, really fun with our characters both being kind of similar in that way.
And one of my favorite things about Hannah as well is just her fashion sense. Like when Hannah rolls into Brookfield, she's got all these fabulous dresses. And, you know, you kind of stick out to some capacity, right? Because you're really bringing the big city into Brookfield, which was, and you looked incredible in those costumes.
Oh, thank you. You know, hair, makeup, and wardrobe were remarkable. I mean, the amount of additional, I mean, my hair extensions, I wish I could say it's real. It's not. But I've got this mermaid hair. Like, they did an amazing job. And I very much chose my wardrobe today in thinking of Hannah and kind of what she would wear.
She would be very proud.
Thank you so much. I tried so hard. But yeah, I think, she kind of comes in and she does kind of stand out coming from the city, and again shows just even physically how different her life has been coming into the town of Brookfield. And I think she gets surprised by how much heart there is in Brookfield, especially from Nora as well, which is so nice.
Well, speaking of our relationship, do you remember the first time that we met?
Yes, you were in the trailer and I met Suze.
But
did we meet before then?
Well, okay, so this is a fun story. When Sarah had her callback audition for Hannah,
of course.
We were going to have a chemistry read together, and Bill, you were on the call as well.
I'm trying to text you to tell you.
Yes, you were so lovely.
And it was my lunchtime, which I was happy to have, to be there for you. And it was the biggest storm we'd had all season.
Yeah.
There was hail, there was lightning, we lost power, we lost electricity.
Yeah.
And we were trying to connect, and we connected for like maybe 2 seconds, and I felt so horrible because as an actor, you know what it's like to be like hanging out, waiting, and you're nervous, and you got all dressed up, and you got all prepped, and
and I was so it's that additional nervous thing where I was like, well, what if we're in the middle of a scene, and all of a sudden something happens and we're in the middle of a scene, and I'm like, you cut out for a second there, sorry. I was like, oh no, like what's gonna, everyone was so lovely and easy. And you messaged me and you said, you're gonna do so great, and that was so nice. And everyone was amazing, but.
The thing about it though that frustrated me was you two auditioning, you don't have to audition for anything.
Sometimes you just want to earn it,
Yeah, there's something about that, for
you
sure.
have earned it though.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And so, such a different character than someone like you. Viewers may remember your role and someone like you as a twin.
Yes.
Playing both roles, pretty amazing.
Yeah, Andy Allen and London Quinn.
Yeah, remarkable.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a very different role. I mean, that's the cool thing is we find ways to relate to our characters, but part of what I find the most exciting is that me and Hannah are very different people. And that's that challenge I love. So I was really ready to dive headfirst into it because she's got, even with how she walks into a room, is so different than how I walk into a room.
For sure.
And, so that is something that I loved, and it was a big pull and a really big draw for me was I've never done a period piece. So what did it look like to present yourself as a woman back in the day, as a business owner, as a ranch owner? Like, what did it all look like? And how, coming from St. Louis at the time too, there was just so much to dive deep into the work and into the time period. And the second you walk on set, you're there. Like, it's amazing.
It truly is.
Yeah.
Well, Facebook is very excited to ask you some questions. Okay. So let's get to it. We have Dustin. Do you have any experience on a ranch or riding a horse before this movie? Or a donkey, for that matter.
Driving a donkey.
Only rode donkeys in my life. That's it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Right? That was my first scene with Kramer, the donkey.
Sweetheart. Of course his name is Kramer.
They were like, you know what, Sarah? Kramer's almost retired. He may not want to go up the hill. And I was like, okay, one take wonder. Let's do this. For the horses, I grew up horseback riding for a couple years, and I was actually in Heartland, and you were as well.
That's right,
I was
but not at the same time.
Not at the same time, but my character was the #1 trick rider. Go figure. So here I am sitting on like the butt of a horse, not on the saddle at all. They had an amazing stunt double for me, but I did do a couple stunts. And it was so fun. I loved it. Being with horses on set is such a gift. It's amazing.
Really is.
It's so fun. Such a blast.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So Sandra Lewis asks, is this your first period drama?
Sandra, yes it is.
Oh, yay.
Yes it is. I'm so excited about it. Again, it's something that has made me so excited about this role and about this project is just physically, the town of Brookfield is so beautiful and amazing, and it really takes you back. I had a scene where I was in one of those little, a little carriage. I don't even know what you call it. The little like hut that you're in on and it was Oh, it was amazing. It was the fashion, again, the hair, makeup, and wardrobe are such a remarkable group of people on this set. They really do an amazing job with everyone. Everyone I see on set, I'm just like, you couldn't look better. Like, everyone
And
just
it's
looks
not
so
easy
good.
to create
Not at
those
all.
characters, and the way they
Not at
do
all.
it is spectacular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question. Claia O'Donnell. Sarah, do you have a favorite scene you filmed?
Okay, I'm gonna give you, it's twofold. I'm gonna give you two, Cindy, because, oh no, not Cindy, that's you, Claia.
I'm Cindy, but I can also be Claia.
Cindy, thanks for the question. No, Claia, thank you. My two scenes I'm gonna say, because there's a bunch that I really had fun shooting. The first scene I ever did, I looked at my call sheet, and it just said, Hannah rides in on donkey cart.
Kramer.
And that was, I was so beyond excited about. And Kramer was fantastic, phenomenal actor. If you haven't seen his work, please do look him up. IMDb. Kramer, don't know the last name.
Kramer. Donkey.
Kramer the donkey. He's the best. And the other scene I loved was between me and Nick, Wyatt, and Mr. Parker. What was such a lovely scene for us is it was one of the first scenes where the shells for both of them are cracked. And you see, because for both of them to even crack a smile, depending on the scenario, and there's such a beautiful relationship that Hannah has with Nora. But I think because Wyatt and Hannah are such strong personalities, again, neither one of them want to kind of lean into the other, so they're sort of keeping a bit of distance. And then they have this beautiful scene in this moment after, really high intensity, a lot of drama, a lot of action happening, and they both lean in a little bit. They dip a toe in, and they both, you see on what's underneath a little bit, and it's just very raw and open and real. And it was subtle. And I think that's something Nick and I have been excited about from the get-go, is that the relationship, it's so fun when we dive headfirst into them too, but we love the slow burn and the fact that a little smile between them is gonna feel so big.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something that we've been really excited about with the relationship between our characters.
And you're connected through that love of your uncle.
Ray,
Yes.
We love Uncle Ray.
Well, speaking of Wyatt, we're actually going to bring Nick back on set with us. But first, here's a clip of the two of you paying respects to someone you both loved.
Wyatt.
Sorry to intrude. I just wanted to check on you. I heard about your fall.
I'm fine.
Ambrose really appreciated your help.
He sure speaks well of you.
I guess you were thinking about his birthday, too?
I was.
He always liked wildflowers.
I was thinking about bringing peanuts and putting them out, then I realized the raccoons would have come and grabbed them.
Good choice. I remember Ray being too fond of the raccoons.
No.
All right, I'll leave you. Sorry to interrupt.
So we began to touch on it before we looked at the clip, but Uncle Ray played such a big role in shaping your characters. What was that like, and how did you lean into that to really create that connection between the two of you even?
Well, I think that's sort of a bit of where the connection between us starts, is that we both have something in common, which is that Uncle Ray really was like a father to us. He was such a father figure to both of us. And at the beginning, when we both have those hard shells and we just don't, we're not at that place where we're sort of getting to know each other a little bit better, the one thing that we do come to, meet in the middle with is Uncle Ray.
Yeah.
And also I think what's beautiful is we share a lot of really vulnerable moments that I think, again, both of them would find they'd want their own space, but we just happen to be in each other's space, both experiencing individually our grief, and we kind of expose each other to that a little bit, despite the fact that we don't want to lean into that, which is really, some of those moments are my favorite moments between us.
I think that's why Wyatt's a little standoffish to your character when you come in, because he's judging you a bit.
Sure.
And the fact that, why are you only coming around now?
Yeah.
Where have you been? Tell me.
Can't tell you.
Tell me. Where have you been? Uncle Ray isn't doing well.
Hey, no fighting here.
But yeah, so it's Ray kind of starts as this foundation of a little bit of a friction, I feel, for my character to use, because I'm like, well,
Sure.
you're just coming back to do your thing and leave. And someone who cared about Uncle Ray would not do that. And then I learn more about your character and see parts of Ray in you that then I'm like, oh, maybe she is cooler than I thought.
I feel like it's safe to say that you're both very strong-minded. And my big question to you is, how's that working out for you?
Go ahead, Nick.
It's probably the most fun we have on set, that we
For
get to like
sure.
kind of
Yeah.
give it to each other in the scenes.
100%.
Yeah, your character is fun. She's strong.
Oh,
But
yeah.
and I love how she's unexpectedly strong.
Yeah.
You rolling on this donkey, and I'm like, what is happening? I'm in so much trouble. That like and then the story unfolds, and each episode goes by. You impress me. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's just like, whoa, they're like an onion. There's layers to her character, and she's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I love that about it. I think it's one of my favorite things is that it isn't something easy or quick for our characters. And again, we love those stories too, but what's so cool is that we actually are quite similar, which is sort of why we can't, at the beginning it's so hard, but then we find because we're similar, we're both, I think, very deeply loyal in this way as well to Uncle Ray. And then slowly we start to kind of
admire each other.
Yeah, find that
for
within
those
each
traits.
other. Yeah, like I think you're absolutely right with what you said. Just with feeling like my character, like, why are you coming back after all this time? And I think how serious you take it actually really makes Hannah respect you on a very deep level, because she sees how genuine you are.
Yeah.
And that's really attractive for her. So she starts to see you in a different light, which is really cool.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
He loves that ranch. Don't mess with it.
He does.
Yeah, so as actors, you spend so much time together, and over the course of 8 or 12 weeks shooting the series. So Sarah, what's something about Nick that viewers would like to know that they
I
probably
can't wait
don't
to find
know?
You know, he's going to say the exact same thing for me, and I can already tell you this. But Nick and I, what we do on set is we both love comedy a lot. So before we have a scene, doesn't really matter what the scene is. For emotional scenes, I might be a little more emotional. Maybe we'll kind of give each other the space. But if it's not too emotional of a scene, we'll just be throwing quotes at each other constantly. Like it's like standing by, and one of us will throw each other something that'll make the other laugh,
Like a
and then
movie
we're
quote?
like, and action, and we're like, and then our characters have that kind of intensity that we go from just cracking up to like, and we mess around a lot on set.
Yeah, well, I'll compliment you. Out of any woman I've ever met, you have the best quotes from movies. And that's hard. That's hard.
That is hard.
Hard. Like it's more of a guy thing to quote movies, like my movies.
I would like to say that we.
Well, I haven't shot with you yet.
I know,
And
but
I'm excited
you'll
to. Yes,
I'm gonna get my quotes ready.
But I was blown away. I'm like saying quotes, and I'm trying to like throw some from left field,
I love that.
and she's like, and she's popping them back, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
she's got the quotes.
Well, he'd throw one and then didn't know I know the movie so well because we like a lot of the same movies, and then I'd throw back the response from the movie, and we would just be throwing them at each other constantly. So
give us a movie that you love that you would throw a quote in.
So many.
Some of them you can't say on this set, but like for instance, like The Other Guys.
Oh, great movie!
Random thing when they're on
funny.
It's such a ridiculous scene where The Rock,
Specifically comedies.
Dwayne Johnson,
Yes.
and Samuel. No, who is it? The Rock, and anyways, they're on a rooftop, and it's such a silly scene. They just look like, aim for the bushes. That's just a line. Aim for the bushes. How would you know that's from a movie? And then she looks at me. She goes, "Aim for the bushes," and I'm like, "Yep." And we didn't even talk about what movie we were talking about. We just knew.
And that's chemistry, everyone. We're asking what chemistry is. That's what
Can't
it is.
make that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to Facebook to get some questions for the both of you. Priscilla Sassabone Cooper. Wow. Nick and Sarah, do you have a funny moment when you two filmed the scenes? Other than your quote challenges?
You
go
first.
ahead.
No.
There was a scene where I can't remember why we kept finding it funny, But there was a scene where there was a bunch of us in the where the jail cell is, which is such a cool set. And we kind of storm in, and it was such a small space that we couldn't
Mounty
fit
office.
the Mounty office. Thank you. We couldn't fit a lot of people in. But when we came in, for some reason, we come in hot, and then he says a line, and I forget what it was that kept happening.
Because we couldn't fit, or the door
I think
wouldn't
it was
shut.
the door wouldn't shut, so
And
we
then
kept. And we kept being like this, and for whatever reason, we thought it was so funny because every time we went in, it won't look unnatural, but it felt really unnatural, and we just kept being like, so, and it was such a serious
trying to keep,
scene. And
it breaks the intensity.
We'd walk in, I'd be like, we've got trouble.
Yeah, and it was.
And the door's shutting, and you.
And there were so many other funny things happening that day too, and I forget what they all were, but like a hat that was on some sort of thing kept falling, like everything that could have gone wrong kept happening.
Yeah.
And at one point, sometimes you just have to laugh, and it's such a great cast and crew. Everyone's so wonderful and warm, and like, you know, we're so quick to find the humor in it. But it was such a high intense scene, and the behind the scenes was so not that. But it was great. It was so fun.
You would never know it from watching the series.
That's right. You got to have fun with it.
So we have one more question. Megan Conley, Sarah and Nick, what was your most vulnerable moment on the show?
Ooh, together?
Yes.
Oh. Oh, I think I know.
You go, yeah.
Well, all right. I think for at least for Hannah is when we visit the grave. And it's what's actually really cool about it is we have a scene before where I kind of go, you know, I tell you I'd like to visit Uncle Ray. Can you take me to him? But what's cool about that is I'm in that scene. We're still very much strangers in a way. So I come to him going, "Can you take me?" And she has her head held high, trying to hold everything she's feeling in, and he goes, "Yeah." And they both know deep down what that is and what that means to them, but they're not showing it. And when they get there, it's the first time that Hannah's with her uncle, and she can't help but she can't help but it just falls out of her. All of her emotion, everything she's been holding in about all of it, sort of the disbelief until he's right in front of her, comes pouring out, and he's right there. And I think Hannah's someone where even getting vulnerable like that in front of people she's close with, I mean, like all of us, that can be really challenging. But especially to, again, someone who she doesn't know that well, who has a similar kind of leadership like quality where they haven't leaned into each other's vulnerable sides yet, and she lets him be a part of it, and he is so welcoming and available and present with her, and it's safe. And I think they both realize
it's a turning point moment too.
Oh yeah, because I think they both realize that there's something safe and there's something deeper here, and I love that we don't talk about it. We just allow it to exist in this space with each other in this one moment.
That's great.
Some of my favorite was
absolutely
when I started realizing that for my character anyways, realizing that your character was cool. I misjudged you. And I think that was like endearing moments where there's flickering moments that you do something that surprises my character, and I'm like, I look over
He
at you
doesn't
like,
get surprised a lot.
You get on the horse.
Take
off.
So those were fun because it's like you see that moment where you're like, his realization is like, wow, she's really cool. So.
That's amazing. Well, thank you both for being
Awesome.
here. This
Thanks
is
for
so
having us.
great.
And I hope everybody can see the tremendous cast, and they're not only incredibly talented, they're great people. And
Truly,
very,
truly
very
the best
hard.
people in front of the camera and behind the camera all the way through.
Hard to find in this industry.
You got it.
Truly, great people on camera and behind.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I want to remind all of you that Bill and I will be hosting a live virtual screening of Season 2, Episode 1 this Wednesday. That's a day earlier than the premiere, exclusively for all Pure Flix Premium members. So go over to Pure Flix Premium and join. Well, thank you both for being here. And don't forget, if you'd like to get a personalized video message from Sarah, Nick, Trevor, Chris, me, or even Bill Abbott, simply comment below with who you'd love to hear from and tag 2 friends. We'll announce one lucky winner before the end of this Facebook Live. Okay, well, we've all been waiting long enough. It's time for Trevor Donovan to join us. He's played a lot of great characters, and Constable Jim Reynolds is no exception. Let's take a look.
Constable?
Well, if it isn't Michael Fletcher.
How you doing, Jim?
Not bad. Not bad at all. So what brings you to Clearwater?
I'm here with Miss Anderson. It's about New Hope Orphanage in Brookfield.
I'm a lawyer with an office here in Clearwater. I understand that you're holding a 15-year-old child by the name of Jenny in your juvenile detention facility. Is she being charged?
Well, she stole a hunk of cheese, but the grocer isn't pressing any charges. Records show that she ran away from the Hamilton Charitable Home earlier this year.
As you can see on this telegram, the Children's Bureau contacted New Hope and asked if we had room for Jenny, and we do. So I'd like to take custody of her.
This telegram is addressed to Miss Lillian Walsh.
I'm helping at the orphanage while she's out of the country.
Does the Children's Bureau know that Lillian Walsh is out of the country?
Yes, but she didn't tell them that I would be there. It was kind of a last-minute thing.
Well, then we may have a problem.
Do you really think that Jenny is better off in detention instead of a home?
Come on, Jim. I can vouch for Miss Anderson. I have a heart.
Fine. I'll have her brought out.
Ooh,
Wow.
Jim Reynolds means business.
Trevor, we are so excited to have you as part of this series. Talk about a dream cast, and you are a huge addition to it. And you've done so many projects in the course of your illustrious career, including Reagan, which was, you know, one of the most emotional scenes I think I've ever seen in a movie. At the end of that, and you played it brilliantly.
Thank you so
How
much.
does this role differ from some of the other things you've done, including for us, Jingle Bell Princess with Merritt Patterson, a few movies with Merritt? How is this different?
This, so speaking of stepping back into time, period piece, 1920s. There's an old West aspect to it, which I love. I mean, the westerns I've done in the past. If I could do one genre for the rest of my life, I'd be on a horse for the rest of my career. This is different. You know, you put the uniform on, and we're in Brookfield, which we built out in this beautiful pasture. There is not a sign of modern times around.
No, it's incredible.
So you are immediately. You don't have to imagine. You don't have to pretend. You are in the 1920s in an old West town. So just that aspect of it, in comparison to the rom-coms we do for Great American Family and stuff. There's such a different, I don't know, there's something that really hooks you in to the character and to that time period. So I love it.
Sure.
I know the first time I saw you walk out on set in your costume, I was just like...
On screen, too.
On screen, I was just like, this is incredible. Like, it felt like you'd been a Mountie before and that you'd been on a horse before, which clearly you had.
Yeah, I'd never been a Mountie, but yeah, definitely been on a horse.
All right, well,
Did the parents give you as much trouble as they gave Christopher?
Yeah, did he mention the difficulty of
getting on and off the
So
horse,
this is
remember?
not fair. Okay, I've been getting up on and off horses for years, and I've never had a problem. And the first thing I'm like, I got this, and I'm going. And no amount of effort was getting my foot up, so they had to bring the stool out. And I had to hop up on a little soapbox to get on my horsey.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I felt so little.
Well, very manly of you to admit it.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Those pants don't allow for a whole lot of stretch.
No,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I don't think they had many elastics back in 1920.
That's a good point.
Perhaps.
Yeah, as opposed to these stretchy jeans these days.
Yeah. How old were you when you first started writing? Like, how did?
34.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So here's
Yesterday.
the story. So I grew up with horses in my backyard.
Yeah.
But when I was 4 or 5 years old, I got bucked off of a horse into a cactus.
Whoa.
And so I didn't want to get back on a horse.
No kidding.
Yeah. Wow. So I was riding motorcycles and dirt bikes and stuff when I was a kid, and horses scared me. And then when I was 33 or 34, an amazing project came up for the History Channel called Texas Rising. It was a story of the rise of the Texas Rangers. It was just such an amazing opportunity. So I started going to San Fernando Valley, Simi Valley, and learning how to ride horses. It was kind of a boot camp, and then spent 5 months, booked a job, spent 5 months in Mexico, riding horses with Bill Paxton and Ray Liotta and all these amazing actors. And it was 5 months of day in and day out, really living in that. in that world. And since then, I've just been in love with it. So
Yeah.
this project, putting me back on a horse, has been a dream come true.
Well, that's great. And you would think you had grown up riding horses the way you take them. It's
Fake
that
it
connection
till you
is-
make it.
Yeah,
That's
there you
right.
go.
That's a very famous actor
Yeah.
line.
And I'm not going to lie, I still have a very cautious respect for those big
Sure.
animals
Oh,
because
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
amazing, but you can
For
actually,
sure.
absolutely
Yeah, they get
hurt.
spooked,
No,
and they
absolutely.
have responses and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you mentioned stepping onto set, 1920. Is there something that you would give up in today's world that would kind of, if you were brought back in time, is there something you'd want to bring with you or something nowadays that you want to let go of?
Something I would miss or something
Yeah,
that
something
I
you
would
would miss, like a toaster or a fridge or, electricity, telephone.
I mean, plumbing.
Cell phone.
Plumbing,
running
electricity.
toilet, yeah.
I think a big thing I would really miss, I love traveling, seeing the world. Back then, you hop on a horse or like you were saying, in a wagon.
Wagon,
and that,
yeah.
You don't get very far very quick. So I would miss that accessibility to different parts of the world.
Yeah, that's a good one.
As much as I'm glued to my cell phone and it's become a thing, I think after a couple months of not having it, I don't think I'd miss it anymore. Besides the camera. I think I might miss the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get like one of those old,
Oh,
cameras
yeah, with
where
the
you
thing
got the
and
powder
then you
and
gotta
a
light
poof,
it. Yeah.
black one. Then you have to go and develop it in a dark room.
Oh yeah, developing pictures. I forgot about that.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a whole thing right there.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking of other projects that you've done, we have Grounded that will premiere this September, October on Great American Family and Pure Flix that you recently shot in Kentucky with Danica McKellar.
Yep.
And tell us about that project.
That was amazing. So we got to shoot in a little town called Stanford, Kentucky.
Oh, cool.
Angela Carell wrote the book that it was adapted from. Angela and her husband Jess, big part of the project, and they put us up in their Airbnbs. The whole backdrop of that town is like the little quintessential little town that we shoot in. I mean, we didn't have to fake anything. We didn't have to cheat everything.
And they've rebuilt that town.
Yes, that was like the whole goal of them. Yeah, because they kind of grew up around in that area and really wanted to bring people back, and it's become a bit of a destination and a vacation spot.
Yeah.
And their little Airbnbs are so cool.
They really are.
And I mean, we just found these, these little rock walls that just fit into the story perfectly, and these ranch homes and beautiful rolling hills, and we just didn't have to force anything. You know, it was just perfect. And we were shooting at a time of the year, the leaves were changing day to day. And we had this one tree we were shooting in front of that changed on cue.
Wow.
For one day, it turned this beautiful bright orange and yellow, and we couldn't ask for a better timing.
And that's why we're saving it until fall, because it is so beautifully executed. Again, Brad Kervoy at MPCA produced that movie, and it looks just tremendous. And you and Danica have great chemistry.
Yeah, we have some photos of you and
yes,
Danica where you look like you had a really wonderful time with horses again.
Back
you
with
just
the
can't
horses.
escape them now.
I can't help it.
Long are the cactus days,
I know.
right?
It wasn't the horse that was the problem, it was the cat.
That's right. They always get in the way.
That's great. You hosted the Movie God Awards together too.
Yes.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, and so
awesome.
so we had met prior to that, but that was the first time we actually got to interact in a work environment, and so then that kind of set up our chemistry for this film, and I think it really worked well.
Really, really
And I
well done.
think that you had just finished shooting that movie when you came on When Hope Calls too, hadn't you?
Yeah, what were the order of operations? Last summer was back to back to back, so it was there.
I remember you were telling me about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we were trying to squeeze you in earlier and have you in more episodes.
Listen, Trevor Donovan,
yes,
he's a busy guy.
Yes, he is.
And everyone wants to know about you. So Facebook questions are pouring in. So
he's always made
let's
me a
read
little
some. We have Gene Cummings. Trevor, how does it feel to have this leading role as a hero and maybe not be a romance lead?
It's funny you should ask that. So the focus of our movies it's a rom-com. It's a romantic comedy. There's an arc, and they fall in love. That's the payoff at the end. To just be sort of this action, part of my character, part of who he is, he's a very stoic individual, and he's very by the book. And he even mentions to Fletcher, like, a real Mounty doesn't really have time for a relationship. You got to focus on the job. And so this is, it's fun for me to play something outside of this, the romantic pursuit.
Absolutely.
So yeah, no, thank you for that question. It's actually exciting.
That is a great question. And as Nora, how do you feel about having another Mountie potentially in town?
I mean,
we know When Calls the Heart has a lot of conflict around the pursuit of Mounties.
In my world, there's never enough Mounties. You know.
Understandable.
No, it was so
Sounds like a
fun. Someone make the T-shirt. No, it was so great to have another Mountie and to actually see them working together in that kind of professional but buddy, like buddy cop kind of way. It was really great, and you and Chris had such great chemistry together. And although you had just met, it just felt like you'd known each other forever. And
yeah, and it's because that is our backstories. We have known, and it did.
Yeah.
It was easy. Chris and I got along.
Super
Oh,
well.
some of those moments
cool.
are just priceless.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
It was very fun
effortless.
watching you both like work on screen
I've
together.
heard you use the
I was
term
the third
bromance.
The bromance. I was
Which
the third
I didn't
wheel.
sign off on.
It's official, y'all.
Okay.
So, more questions for Trevor. Debbie Welch. Trevor, are you comfortable in cowboy boots on and off the set?
Ooh.
Looks like that's a
Does that answer your
yes.
question? Very comfortable. Who asked that?
Debbie Welch.
Debbie, great question. Yes, I love cowboy boots.
Yep.
I've been
He came prepared.
breaking these in. Yeah, these are my riding boots, and they're as comfortable as tennis shoes.
That's
Love it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Lisa Johnson Hamilton. Trevor, how does this role differ from others? What made it stand out to you?
Definitely the red suit. Yeah,
That
well, playing a
certainly stands
Mountie,
out.
you know, I'm not Canadian. I'm not really familiar with some. It's learning about the where the Mounties came from and the whole backstory to them and the training and all this stuff. So that is a big difference from anything I've ever played before.
Yeah, and a follow-up question there, Jen Miller. Trevor, did you research how to act as a Mountie? And you know, you're the consummate professional, so I'm sure you did a ton of research on exactly what the key components were of that role.
Deep dive into it. And it is, I mean, it is.
A lot of people wouldn't, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
true.
and it is, it's
Absolutely.
very, it's that time period, it's a certain way that law enforcement, there wasn't a whole lot of difference between different forms of law enforcement, but they were definitely, as you can see, just the way that they're dressed, there's a lot of letters to the law. So, yeah, so I did my research and still learning, for sure.
Did you feel powerful when you put that suit on?
As soon as that thing buttons up and it tightens up,
Yeah.
and then the hat, it's all very, your posture changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like putting on any kind of a military suit, all of a sudden you go, "Rrrt," and your chest comes out a little bit, and you become that person. So,
yeah. Next question. This question is for both Trevor and Bill. Mountie Jim's role in season 2 was said to be a 2-episode story arc, which implies more in the future. Any spoilers?
My spoiler is as much as humanly possible.
I
There we
will
go.
piggyback on that remark.
Yeah,
Yes.
we cannot get enough of your character and you in this series.
I will take that all day long.
Yeah.
I'm here if you need me.
Oh, I just heard Chris Russell say he's also in for that. He would love for you to return.
Did he come up with the bromance term?
Probably.
Yeah,
No,
probably.
he didn't. It was all me. I started the rumor.
That's all right.
Oh. Well, thank you, Trevor, for joining us. And if you're looking for more exclusive conversations with the cast, head over to Pure Flix Premium. And don't forget that this season, Trevor, Nick, and Christopher will be diving deep into the men of Brookfield. Plus, Sarah and I will be discussing the women of When Hope Calls. Bill, tell us more about Pure Flix Premium.
Yes, Pure Flix Premium is something we created to really delve deeper into the stories that we tell.
Yeah.
And the subscription supports value-driven, value-based entertainment that the culture certainly needs a lot more of, and it has a lot to offer, so we hope you check it out and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's so fun to be able to share all the behind the scenes and, you know, all the little moments that we each have as characters. And I know I personally love watching that on the, you know, movies and shows that I watch. So I think it's great. You should do that.
That's what you should do.
You should do that.
For sure.
Well, That's
Yeah,
it.
so can't wait. This Thursday night, or Thursday, the first episode drops on Flix, and
April
then
3rd.
Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. April 6th will be the first episode, the long-awaited first episode of When Hope Calls. I think that's the first question we got when we started Great American Family. Are you going to bring back When Hope Calls? And so we are thrilled to be doing it. It's long, it's six years, I guess.
It's happening.
Yeah, that season 1 was first produced, and we have an incredibly talented cast that, as I mentioned before, you're even better people than you are talent, and that's saying a lot.
Thank you.
So proud to be working with you, and it really is a joy.
And I want to personally thank all of the crew that worked on the show as well. They were all incredibly talented, and they worked so hard, way harder than me. And so I just want to say thanks to them for doing that.
And you sell yourself short. You work so
for making the magic come true. And I hope everyone enjoys, because we loved making it. So thanks for joining us, everyone.
For sure.
Thank you so much. Everyone, good night.
Good
Thanks
night.
for being here.
Thanks,
Appreciate
everybody.
you.